Hello, YouTube. Prof Sales coming at you with another update. Another update on the 5,000 jeans on eBay listing challenge. How is everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are having a great Friday. I know I'm having a good Friday, so
Sophie, his 13th birthday.
let's see how we're doing here.
Guitar coming tomorrow. Road game today. Sophie, his 13th birthday.
Let's see how we're doing here. Yep, sounds like we have decent sound, so we will proceed like we do, hopefully. All right, so some people are starting to filter into the room, so I hope you guys are doing awesome. Hopefully your week was good. So we'll do a quick hangout, and I'll give you an update on all my stats and so on. I wanted to get in tonight. It's kind of a weird time, late Friday evening, I guess. It's about 6:15 on the East Coast. So hopefully we can get in before the nightly shows come on. I know there's some people that have shows on Friday night. I don't want to step on their toes. Let me open this wide. Maybe that'll make the light a little better. Oh, yeah, that's a little better. Hey, Philip, how's it going? How's it going? So today is day 31 of the 5,000 gene challenge. And today was a very cool day because today was the last day Karen was at her job. So she will be transitioning into being able to help more in the business, but also some other things she's going to be doing as well. But I'm excited about it. We're excited about working together. We went out actually sourcing this afternoon to celebrate the life of resellers, right? And you know, it's going to be great. We talked about how some things are going to be different, how we're going to make this work, how we're going to be able to you know, work together and actually get more volume done, more sourcing done. So I can't wait to kind of have that be part of our daily routine now. And, you know, having two people to go out and source or list or photograph is great. But at the same time, you got to think about how do you manage now having two people working in the business versus one. And yeah, she's helped me in the past. Of course she has. But now it'll be a much bigger effort. So we started talking about that. Like, what does that look like in a given week? Do we spend our time? Do we spend a day sourcing, a day listing, a day photographing? Do we break it up some each day? Does one person go here? Does one person go there? Do we both work on the same thing? You know, these are all questions we've got to think about and resolve. And honestly, we don't have the answers at this moment, even though we'll be starting this very soon. I guess it's going to evolve. We're going to adapt to the situation, you know, because, you know, depending on the time frame, if she's getting ready to go back out of town or she's got to work elsewhere, that's going to dictate whether we will be sourcing right then, or whether we'll be doing photographs, whether we'll be listing, you know, whatever it is. So we got to figure all that out. Not sure how that's all going to play out yet, but we're pretty excited about it that she's now finally free to help out in the business. Hey, Mark, how are you? All right, so I'm not going to spend too long on tonight, guys, just because I have video hangout tonight since I didn't do one yesterday. But you know, it's been a good couple days actually, and I definitely want to do some more listing tonight before this weekend, because I got some stuff going on this weekend, so working will be a little tougher. I want to share some other things some inventory issues that came up today. So as you guys know, I've been thinking about how to maximize out my space and what that's going to look like in terms of storing inventory after I list something and you know, need to wait until it sells. And I have these black shelves you can see back here behind me that I've been using for inventory, mainly upstairs in the spare bedroom. The challenge has been that those shelves, they only hold 150 pair of jeans. And so I've been thinking of ways to maximize the space and get more out of it. So what I came up with was to fold the jeans something like this, which is pretty comparable to how the jeans would go into a padded flat rate mailer. And at the same time, I'll have an inventory number on them like this. And this shows when you're looking at the jean, you can see, oh, that's number 2385. It's in spot A343. Okay? The problem is when you stack a bunch of these like this on one side of the shelf, you can put about 6 high with no real problem. After they get above about 6, they're likely to topple over. This kind of seems to be like a good number in my opinion. But you stack 6 of these on one side, and I thought, man, you know, what's cool about this is if you look at those shelves, I can stack 6 on one hot side, and I can stack 6 on the other side. So now, instead of only getting 10 jeans in one spot, I can get 12, which is great. I've just added 20% more inventory space to my shelving units. Instead of holding 150, now they will hold 180, right? Awesome. Great, great plan. Little problem. So when you sell one on one side, like say I've got these 3 like this, and let's say I sell this one on the bottom, right? Which is number 2383. Well, I'll pull it out. These 2 will drop down, and then it's sold. And now that creates an open spot in my inventory system. I can put another pair of jeans in this A314 spot. The problem is that new pair of jeans is the highest item number I have. So normally it's going to go on the very top spot of a stack. Well, if the top spot is on the back side of the shelf, that means I've got to pull out the bottom pair of jeans, put it on top of this stack, and then put the new one I just listed on top of the other stack to kind of maintain that sequential order of item numbers. Obviously, anytime you have to put something in inventory and then move it again to put something else new in inventory is not an ideal situation. And you can imagine if I had an employee, hey, Yvonne, you can imagine if I had an employee who was trying to figure all this out. It'd be even more chaotic and more potential for error and just less efficient. So I thought about, well, I could just say that, you know, bin number A343 has 12 pair of jeans in it, and I don't care what order they're in. The problem with that system is when you go to find one in that bin, you're going to have to look through all 12 to find it because they're not going to be in order after a while. They're going to slowly get out of order as you're adding new ones to that. As you sell one and you add one, you sell one, you add one, eventually they're going to be kind of out of order. So that was a challenge. So what Karin and I came up with, and we suggest, and it's still going to be a pain in the butt, is on the front of the shelf will be A343, and on the back will be A344, and A345, and A346. So there'll be 6 spots on each shelf. The issue, different bin spots on each one, but what it doesn't solve is all the ones that are already in bins. Now I would have to go back and renumber all those, not only on the ticket spreadsheet and also in eBay. And as you know, in eBay, sorting by that, when you've got a letter, an alphanumeric, and then a numeric, it doesn't always put them in the order you think it's going to do. I mean, you literally got to go through and do each one hand by hand. I mean, that's the best overall best practices way to do it, to have two bins on each, or 2 bin spots on each shelf. So six spots total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way around. But man, to have to go back and now renumber all those, it's gonna be a pain in the ass, to be quite honest with you. So, you know, I'm contemplating all that. That's probably what I'm going to do. And Karin made a good point. She said, well, you've been wanting to do an audit of your inventory. Now there's a good topic for a whole nother video, but I know I've made mistakes when I've entered items in inventory. It's happened. You know, you get fat fingers and you type the wrong thing. And all of a sudden now where you think something is, it's not there, it's somewhere else. And I've had some fail safes that have helped me figure out when I lose something where it went. But it's probably not a bad idea to go in and audit your inventory every once in a while, guys. You know, a professional big corporation would do that. You know, your big retailers, it's not the worst idea in the world. And so I could combine the audit with this new renumbering system. Now, it's not even a new system. It's just segmenting out what I already have. I love the way these are stacked, by the way. They stack really awesome. They fit better on the shelf this way. You don't have to pick up 10 now to get to one. You only got to pick up 6, well, technically only 5. So that's easier. They don't weigh as much. You're not picking up as much weight, which is nice. But to go back and do this renumbering, I'm not looking forward to it. Mike says, why not do the alphabetical order on the brands? It's working great for me. Yeah, I think we talked about this, Mike. The problem is that as I get up to higher and higher numbers, you know, you're going to have individual racks for individual letters of the alphabet, which is not an awful idea, but, you know, like right now it would be very difficult for me to do, and I'd have to go back and reconfigure everything. So I don't know. My mind tends to think of things sequentially, like, you know, item number 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. But, you know, I've given that some thought about the alphabetical system. I just can't figure out a way it would really work easily. And what happens when you need to add a fixture? Like, you're not going to need to add a whole fixture. Like, let's say you've got a fixture of A's. You know, you got American Eagle on there, AG, you know, whatever. So Abercrombie. So you got this fixture of A's, and then you fill it up with 180 jeans. A fixture of A's, but it's not going to be another whole fixture. It's going to be like, it's going to be, you know, just a few A's. You went out and bought 10 more A's, but you're going to have one whole fixture with A's, you know, only on it. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And if you want to do it by bins, I guess you could, but then you'd have to start sliding them and moving them around. Yeah, I mean, there's just no simple way when you've got individual SKUs like with jeans or shirts or belts or ties or anything that you don't have multiples of. There's no simple way to do it. You're going to have to commit to a system. And I got to tell you, gang, this is probably like the 4th or 5th iteration of my inventory system. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because, all right, think about it this way. I have figured that I'm going to need somewhere like around 26 to 28 of these shelving units to hold 5,000 pair of jeans. So you got to think about, man, when there's 28 of those filled up, there is definitely a lot of potential for errors and mistakes to creep in. So I want to create something that makes sense, but also something that can keep my items straight. And I know where they're at. You know, I know how many spots I have open. I know what I have where. I mean, nothing's perfect, but I'm just always trying to think of ways perfected. But yeah, Mark says, problem is I have 3 pair of AE Artist stretch size 5. It's funny you mentioned that, Mark, because the other day I had somebody send back a pair of jeans to me that was not the pair I sold them. It was definitely not the pair. I'd never even recognized these jeans. And you think, well, why would you still recognize jeans, Prof? You got hundreds and hundreds of pair, which is true. But these particular pair had tags still on them. And they were kind of ones that I wouldn't normally pick up. So it was weird to me, like when they came back. So I looked to see what the guy had bought, and he bought a pair of Levi's from me and sent me back a pair of Levi's, but they were like junior Levi's. He sent back. And I went to go find the pair that I sold to him, and it was kind of an unusual size. It wasn't an unusual size, but it was somewhat, you know, it was like a 14, size 14. And then I don't remember the number, but it was like a long or something. And I thought, well, how many 14 longs can I have? I had like 7 of them, the same number. And I went, oh my God, I have no idea if any of these were it or not. But I still haven't looked at the guy. I still haven't heard back from the guy. And So I think he just made a mistake and either didn't mean to return mine, or I'm not sure what he did, but it was kind of funny. I went and I said, how many of these could I possibly have? I had 7. So, it was like, which one is it? But anyway, Fred says, each item I have has a note, month, date, year, and then some location, item number. They all go in poly bags and get a sticky note with this info. Yeah, the key is, Fred, but where do you put them? What order do you put them in? Because you may have the note on them, and that's going to help you identify, but you need to be able to find it in the first place. You need to know, well, which bin is it in? Which set of shelves is it on? That's the key. It's not so much that you can, once you found the item, you're going to know if it's the right one or not. 99 times out of 100, it's not going to be any problem figuring that out. It's more a problem of where do you start to look. You got to know where to go to find it is the point. And that's what a good inventory system gives you if you do it right. But I am still tweaking mine, obviously. Are returns for jeans common? Will Kennedy says, yeah, they're pretty common, Will. I mean, you definitely get people who, by far the number one reason, Mike or Mark could probably tell you the same, is just size. People got it and it didn't fit. And I chalked it up to most of the time people think they're one size and they're really not. But yeah, you're definitely going to get some returns with jeans, but my numbers aren't crazy. I'm in the single digits. I'd have to look, but I want to say I'm like below 5%. So it's not a crazy number. It's like maybe 3%, 3.5%, which I don't think is that bad. Most of the time, especially with women, they know what size they wear. So as long as you did your measurements right and you're sure that what you've got is what it says it is, a lot of times it's going to be pretty darn close. Okay, so let's see. All right, so guys, I'm going to show you my results from yesterday, which was day 31. We're officially a month in, right? At least a month, depending if you think a month is 30 days. So let me do a little screen share here for you. Let's see here. All right, so yesterday was August 18th. You can see down here. I started the day, basically I accumulated 617 listings. I got 14 listed yesterday, which is really good. Probably need to be a little bit higher though. Probably need to be more like 17. 8 sales yesterday, which is ties my other best days so far. $192. I think that's technically the highest day I've had since I started. I think it beat this day by 75 cents. A net of somewhere around 76.85, which is pretty good. And net per G 961, which is a nice total, not at 10, but a really good number. 1.3% sell-through. That's great. I love that number. That sell-through percentage is starting to creep up a little bit. And sell to list on the day was 8 to 14, which is still pretty good considering I sold 8. So let me go over and I will show you. I'm going to quit sharing and then come back to this screen. And so for August, you see that I've averaged 588 listings. I bought a bunch more today. I haven't put those in yet, guys. I think I bought about 35 or so maybe today. We hit 2 stores, so we did pretty good. Karn and I. The traffic gets really crazy in this area on Friday afternoon, and it just becomes a nightmare to get around. And we got kind of a late start. We didn't get started about 2 something before she got home. But we got 35, I think, today. But 126 photos so far. 141 listed, 3 stores, 81 sold. So that's a nice number. That's moving in the right direction. A gross of basically $2,000 with a net of 825 so far. Percentage in here, actually. I'll probably create another column for that. Net per jean is actually 10.19, which is still really good. I'm happy if it's anything over 10, I think is really good for used jeans in general. If you're selling volume. Now, if you're just looking for the one-offs that are really valuable, obviously you could get more, you can net more than that. But, you know, I've got a lot of jeans in here that, you know, I've had for several months that I have to keep dropping my price just to try to get rid of them. So I think $10 is a nice number to shoot for. Sell-through percentage for this month is 14%. Sell to list is 57. I definitely want to work on getting that down below 50, but not too bad. So that puts our total so far, guys, at 129. Oops. 129 sold since we started. $3,000 gross. A net of 1177 if you round up. Net per jean 876. Definitely want to keep pushing to get that higher. Sell-through percentage since I started is 23%. This number is a little wacky, so we'll see how this. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to keep doing this way. Actually, I know I'm not going to, because this is just going to go crazy, I think. So I'm going to have to figure out a better way to do this one. Probably just average the sell-throughs of the months. And sell to list 58%. It all made sense. I went through that really quick. And if it was too quick, sorry. Yvonne says, congrats so far. Thank you, Yvonne. Cool. I'll email you. Look at, okay, Vegas and Mike are having a little conversation. That's cool. Dennis said, are you concerned that your high volume goals are oversaturating the market, hurting pricing? No, Dennis, I'm not. I once figured out a few months ago, Dennis, just to answer your question, I once figured out that I went through eBay and I looked up how many how many listings there were in the brands that I like to sell. Not all brands, but just the brands I was selling, okay? And then I figured out, you know, well, what would it look like to have 1% of all the listings on eBay on just the brands that I like to sell? Not all brands, just the brands I like. I would need to have 3,500 pair of jeans listed in the brands that I like to sell to have 1% of the eBay market. Now, that's probably fluctuated some since then, but I'm nowhere near 3,500 listings yet. I will be, but that's the plan. But even then, I would not be 1% of the entire jean market. I would be a fraction of it. I would only be 1% of the market of the jeans that I like to sell. So no, I don't think I'm going to saturate the market at all or hurt pricing. I mean, I think even at 5,000 listings, I'm still going to be a relatively small percentage of the market. So Fred says, how's your website coming? What platform you use? I'm using WordPress. WordPress is driving me nuts, Fred. I'm about ready to, I've just spent $60 on a theme and I'm not happy with it, but I'm really not happy with myself because I just don't understand a few of the things about it enough. So it's absolutely driving me crazy. I'm going to have to get help on it somehow. Still not sure how I'm going to do that. But what I want to put on it is great. It's just getting it structured. Mex and silver tabs found today. $3. Nice finds. Prof ruining the jeans market confirmed. Yeah, I think Mike might be ruining it more than me because he's selling all those those scraps of denim that he finds at the weigh-in pay, and he just bundles all in a bucket and says they're like, you know, he calls them destroyed jeans, basically. They're just scraps of jeans. They're not even really a jean. They don't have belt loops or zippers or pockets or anything. And he calls them jeans, you know. So I think Mike is the one really causing the issue. Fred says, same here, I'm learning to use WordPress. Yeah, and WordPress is not that hard. It's just, I don't know. I mean, getting the structures of the menus is driving me nuts. I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing with it. And I've watched a couple videos on it, and I'm still just like throwing my hands up, just ready to throw in the towel. But I got to do something different. 24 people watching, guys. Thanks for that. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, if you're enjoying the content, I appreciate it. So please hit the like button. What else? So yeah, inventory. Good days yesterday. Trying to figure out this inventory issue. Hopefully we'll go into the weekend, get good sales. One other thing I want to tell you guys is, you know, consider, and I've talked about this before, is repricing. Just consider going in and doing some repricing as you go down. through your listings, because if you're not moving items, you know, I've got some items. This is embarrassing to say, but I've got some items I've had now for over a year. I've got pair of jeans number 1. Oh, I'm going to sell that pair of jeans, damn it. But it's just like a personal thing now. Like, I'm going to sell number 1, the first pair I listed. But I've sold number 2. I just haven't sold number 1. But, you know, go through and reprice your stuff. You know, drop your prices maybe a little bit to move some items, free up some capital so you can flip it back into new things. You know, not saying your pricing is not great, but sometimes even just that changing that pricing just a little will flip somebody over into a watcher versus a buyer. So I think there's some value in that. You know, you don't have to go crazy. Just, you know, drop it, you know, 5%. Vegas says, how many days a week are you sourcing, Prof? Right now, it's been 1 to 2 days, Vegas, because I tend to do big days, but it's been a little sporadic the last week. We tend to go out and we'll do like one big day and hit, you know, 12 stores or something crazy like that, 14 stores, whatever we can hit in an area, and just really go nuts and, you know, pull in 130, 140, 150 pair. But it's going to have to eventually go to 2 days, quite honestly. And, you know, that's going to be a little bit of a logistical challenge, just figuring out which 2 days and where and so on. Anyway. What other questions you guys have? Well, it looks like I got the the hate brigade is out tonight with 5 dislikes already. You got to wonder why YouTube even has a dislike button. Why not just have a like button only? I never have understood that. Why not just have a like button? I mean, you know, if people like something more than other things, I don't know. Really weird. Yvonne says, I'm trying to add more jeans, but I'm still not comfortable. At the thrift stores, know the good brands and are pricing up. Yeah, that's not really going to happen that much, though, Yvonne, because quite honestly, a lot of the stores, you know, they will price things higher that they think is worth more, and it's really not. And then they'll leave really good stuff on the rack. You probably need, if you wanted to make jeans a part of your portfolio, you really need to be able to go in and identify, probably Mike or Mark could chime in on this. You probably need to be able to identify, say, 15 brands, women's and men's, and kind of some of the fits and sizes that you can find and you can flip for decent money. If you can think of 15 brands of men's and 15 brands of women's, you're going to walk into any thrift store in America and find those brands. I mean, you're not going to necessarily find 50 of them, but you're going to find some of them. And but it's going to take some time and effort and some research to do that. I mean, you don't get that overnight. I mean, I cannot tell you how many brands I have looked up in my phone over the last probably year and a half or so. It is just crazy amounts. Probably at least 250, 300 brands, I would guess. I mean, it's just nuts. There's a lot of different brands of jeans, a lot of one-offs and small companies, but, you know, there's some big ones too. Will says, how far are you typically driving your source locations? I'm lucky, Will. I have 20 plus Goodwills within 45 minutes of me in any direction, more or less. Call it an hour at the most. So, you know, I can drive around my entire city and just hit a bunch of them. So not that bad, but I've also got some other major metro areas near me where I can hit that are only like an hour away. So they're not too bad too. Learn the 15 brands of Levi's. Yeah, Fred says that. Yeah, you could start with that. Levi's and Miss Me. Yeah, but Yvonne, I don't know about where you're at. I'm not sure where you're at in the country. I want to say you're on the West Coast, maybe, but you're not. I don't know that you're going to find a lot of Miss Me's. I mean, I find them. Or Colorado. Well, you're west of me, but you're going to find them, but you're not going to find tons of them. So, you know, I mean, you're going to find tons of Levi's, no question, lots of Levi's, and even some of the worst not the worst, but even some of the less desirable sizes you can find and you can flip. But Miss Me, I mean, Miss Me's a great brand, but I don't find enough of them to really, I mean, they're definitely a brand I'll pick up if I see them, but I'm not going to go out of my way to find them. I mean, they're, if I see them, I'll check them out and get them. 99 times out of 100, I'll get the pair. I mean, it has to have something wrong with it where I won't. Maybe 4 a month at a price I can flip. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're just not as common as Levi's, for instance, or, lots of other brands too. I mean, Seven for All Mankind's great. Citizens for Humanity's good. Silver tabs from Levi's, which, if you can find those. Some American Eagles are okay. I've had some success with some Lane Bryants. I mean, Lane Bryant makes sizes basically for plus size women, and they make some really large sizes that just other jeans just don't make those sizes hardly at all. And, a lot of times these jeans are in great shape. I actually think Lane Bryant, almost never do I put a pair of Lane Bryant back because they have an issue. It's rare. So I think they make a pretty good jean, actually. It holds up pretty well. So, and you can find them in those larger sizes that are desirable, like 18 to 20, 22, 24, 26. Anyway. Ashley says, for used Levi's at Goodwill, how much do you spend on a pair? How much do you sell it for? My Levi's, my jeans where I live, Ashley, basically are $4.99 plus tax, so a little bit more. How much you sell it for? It depends, but you're probably going to sell it somewhere in the $15 to maybe $20 range plus shipping. If it's sort of a run-of-the-mill bread and butter Levi, if it's something special, that could be a little higher. But like I think I sold a pair of 18W. No, were they 18W? What were they? 18. They were size 18 Levi's, and they went for like 22 plus $6.50 shipping. Because you don't really tend to find a lot of Levi's in those higher sizes for whatever reason, but basically somewhere around that range. So if you sell it at $15, you're gonna, if you sell it at $18, you're gonna net about $10 on it if you're a top-rated seller. It's assuming you charge shipping as well, and you send padded flat rate. If you sell it at $15, you're gonna make a little less, like $7.75, $8, somewhere around there. Only time I went on tag day, I found 2 pair of AG. They sold super fast. Yep, AG is a good brand. Adriano Goldschmied. I love that name. I just like saying it. Rue jeans from Hot Topic. I haven't had a lot of experience with those, Fred, but they might be great. That's a good point. When you have time, can you tell us your size divisions? I'm not sure what that means. Yvonne, you have to elaborate. Just never focus on doing volume with jeans. Yeah, I mean, and full disclosure, Vegas Flips, jeans are work. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody, oh, it's easy, just go buy 1,000 pair of jeans. Nope. What does Prof do on his day off? I'll let you know when I take one, Spiky. I source by profit margin and dollar amount rather than a specific niche. Not saying that's correct, just my way. Yeah, I mean, you can do that, Mr. Sadie, but you also got to have supply. You might find one item that has a great profit margin and sells for a great dollar amount. But if you can't get enough of it, you can't really, to meet your goals, then it's not something you can really base your business on. So just different ways of looking at it. But yeah, it's not right or wrong. Ashley says, thanks for the help. Your videos are always so informative. Yes, Ashley, and I'm going to get back to making some not vloggy videos as well. Ugh. It's tough, though, to make more than one a day. Tanya says, hey, I just went outcast there. Like, how many are plus size? Well, I mean, obviously plus size are a little bit easier to sell, Yvonne, and they tend to go for better money, but you're going to find less of them. So, the average American woman is around a size 12, more or less. So you definitely want to find jeans around there, but you're going to sell more 12s than you sell size 4s. There are women who are size 4s, and if you can find like a 4 long, for instance, that might sell pretty well. But just like a 4 regular or even a 4 short, on, of course, but usually is not going to sell as quickly or for as much. You know, there's two parts to this. There's how much it's going to sell for and how quickly. You know, and those both have to be in, you know, in with metrics that make sense to you and your business model. So, yeah, if you could do big volume at 99 cents a pair, it's worth considering. Yeah, like Mike does up there in Pittsburgh. I'm moving to Pittsburgh, Mike, and then it's on like Donkey Kong, my friend. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not moving to Pittsburgh. Too damn cold. Whew. How do plus size sales compare to each other? Yeah, that's a good question, Yvonne. I don't know that I would be able to answer that particular question. You know, like plus sizes even within a brand versus other brands. But in general, they sell better. And the reason is because they don't tend to send that many of those to a store when the initial size run comes out. You know, they're going to get, because there's less women in that size range, they're not going to send as many to the store. Plus, you know, they got to look at like, you know, cost as well. I mean, a plus size pair of denim costs more. It has more material. And that doesn't, and it may not be a huge cost, but when you're producing 200,000 of them, it adds up. So they got to look at all those factors, any manufacturer of denim, and decide, you know, all right, how many sizes are we going to offer? You know, and we're going to send to each store. Well, each store might get one, if that. You know, when I was in retail management, we a lot of times would get one of the larger sizes, if that, you know, in men's and women's. Sometimes you didn't even get any. So people would come in looking for it and you just didn't have it. So now with the way the internet has changed everything, a lot of times, you know, people go online to find those sizes because they really like the brand, but they just can't find the size that fits them. Maybe down the road, since you're the spreadsheet, maybe, yeah, I know, right? Spreadsheet. Somebody the other day said they wanted to buy my spreadsheet. I'm not sure which spreadsheet they want to buy. And I was like, I got to make a video for you before I could sell it to anybody, because honestly, I wouldn't just put it out there in the universe and say, here it is, go figure it out. I'd want to at least make maybe a little 10-minute video just kind of explaining how to use it and, you know, what you could do with it. That way, you know, you'd be, it's a project. It's on the back burner, but it's there. Let's see. Fred says plus size or just bigger tall size in general have better sell-through ratios, command bigger. Yep, absolutely. Brent says, if you looked into wholesaling, if you research companies, you're going to find a lot of companies, the price point should be lower than $4.99. I wonder what the quality is like, though. Yeah, Brent, here's the thing. I am looking into not wholesaling, but something like that. But the problem is that a lot of companies that call themselves wholesalers are not. They are middlemen. They are just operating between you and the manufacturer. So once the manufacturer sells the item to them, and then they take that item and mark it up even more, all of a sudden your margin drops way, way down. So you really have to be careful about getting involved with someone who's a wholesaler, because they may be a wholesaler, but they may not. They may just be a middle person between you and the wholesaler. It's better if you can go straight to the manufacturer in a lot of cases. So, but that comes with its own set of risk and pitfalls as well. I've done well with plus size clothing in the past. Yep. Okay, I'm done. I'll let someone else talk. Sell plus size clothing a lot faster. Yep. Mr. Sadie said, I have one factory job in my life doing the same thing over and over. I made it until lunch. I know, right, Mr. Sadie? I was joking with somebody the other day. I am basically unemployable now. A job? I don't think I could do it. Just wouldn't make sense. I don't think I could work for someone else again at this point. It'd be very difficult for me to do that. So I think I'm all in. You know, this is it. It's this or nothing. It's this or welfare, I guess, or who knows. Grab some water. Ashley asks, what measurements do you usually include in your listings for jeans? Well, there's two I think you have to include, Ashley, and I include them in the item specifics. And I take usually photographs of them as well. One is the waist size. A tape measure across the back waistband. You basically double that number, and that gives you the waist size. sometimes it's a little bit off from that. You know, the waist size is a little tricky to measure on some jeans because it depends on how the rise is structured as well. And the second measurement is the inseam, the length, waist and length. You know, I mean, that's, you know, you can measure the rise and put that in the front rise. There's actually a back rise too, but nobody ever asks for that usually. And I've never had to measure one, but it's not hard. The circumference of the cuffs, how big around they are. I like that measurement too, because that can give you a clue as to what type of jeans they are if the type is not on the tag or in the waistband of the jeans. Because in general, there's some general rules about what's a straight leg and a skinny and a boot cut and a flare, and you know, they're just kind of general though, because every manufacturer is a little bit different in what they consider those. But you know, those two measurements I always put in there, the waist and inseam. That way, people have an idea about, you know, if there was any shrinkage or just in general what the size is, you know, because there's a lot of jean manufacturers who just put wacky numbers on there. And I don't even know what they mean sometimes. Mike's probably a better expert at that than me. But, you know, they'll just put this random number inside the waistband and you measure it and you go, there's no way it's that. But it's there. And it's off by like 3 inches. It's not even close. So I always put measurement is and the waist measurement, and then people can make their own determination. Then they can measure themselves they want and see. And you know, and it also depends on where people wear the jeans. Some people like to wear them high, some people more down low. Spiky says I don't need measurements, I wear Walmart jeans. Hey, Walmart jeans have measurements. But yeah, so anyway, guys, oh, there was one other thing I wanted to share with you. Let me see if I can get the share up. I'm always making little improvements to these graphs and so on. I thought I'd show you this one, which is just the, excuse me. This is the my graphs for sales. So I put this little slope bar in here, which I didn't even realize that you can do with these graphs. Hey, who knew, right? So you can see here my sold since we started here on the first day to today. And the slope of the line is definitely positive. Hey, what do you know, right? And my listings is positive as well, but it's steep of a slope. This line is not as steep as this line, which is good, but it would be nice to get this one steeper so that this one will get steeper, if that makes any sense. You know, and I'm not sure if you guys can see these. I slid up to the first one, but this line is my number of listings up, slightly positive, and I don't know why I won't do a slope line for this percent sell-through. I'm not really sure. For some reason, it won't do it. I tried it earlier today, and it would not work. Anyway, thought I would share that with you too. I forgot to do that earlier. My mistake. And hey, I think you'll be just fine. You do a great job. Thanks, Mr. Sadie. Appreciate that. Found cinch fireproof jeans today, but stained. I was bummed. Ah, man, that stinks. I've never found those. I've heard of them, but I've never found them. So that sounds like that would have been a nice find. Hey, guys, one thing I want you to do for me. I got a couple ideas for some other videos that are not the vlog. I know we've been doing a lot of vlogs the last few weeks, and I've really gotten away from doing the other videos, but I do have some topics floating around my brain. But I would like to hear from you guys if you have topics for other videos. And it could be a simple topic, which, you know, maybe I can cover in a 5, 7, 8-minute video. Nothing crazy. Doesn't have to be this big, long 30-minute, 45-minute long video. I mean, some topics just don't take that long to talk about. But if you have other topics that you would like to see me do a video about and cover, I'd really appreciate if you let me know. You can let me know in the comments of this video or really any video, because they all pop up each day. Or also, that's pretty funny, Spikey. I gotta laugh at that. Sorry, that came up. I just started laughing. But yeah, right. I'm the one to talk about that, like how to kill a microphone by Prof Sales. But anything any subject that, and it doesn't have to do with jeans. It can do with other things too. Because I'm really trying to think about some things that have to do with mindset. I got in a pretty long conversation with somebody yesterday on Facebook in one of the groups. And it became obvious to me after a while that this person had just a very antiquated view about reselling, entrepreneurship, people in general that are in this field. And I'm not really sure where that came from, but I thought to myself, this one person is saying this, but there's probably a lot of other people who feel the same way. And I found myself getting a little frustrated that this person couldn't see that their position was sort of illogical. But, nobody ever wins an argument on the internet, right? So, I definitely have some ideas from other topics, but you can also send me an email. My email is under my About section. And when you log on to the beginning of my, the first part of my page, so there's an About section and you can find my email address there. You can send me an email if you like. And, I love to get ideas for videos, guys, because I'll tell you, it's tough coming up with ideas for videos. There's a lot of things out there, but there's a lot of things that have been done, and I like giving my own spiel, my own spin on them, but it'd be nice to hear some more ideas from you guys too. And you guys have given me ideas. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you haven't, but, just keep those coming. Vegas says the vlogs are good. I also enjoy your teaching videos. Yeah. I want to talk about a couple other things. Fred says, I like the interview style videos like we do on Revenue Wrap, which are pretty cool. I've got some other guests that I have in line for that, but we'll see if, just getting scheduling down for that is so tricky because it pretty much has to be that night on Monday nights. Brent says, I like your videos because there aren't many resellers that make videos daily or even weekly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it gets tough, Brent, because it does take some time. And these live vlogs are nice because they don't have to be edited. That saves a lot of time because, making the video and editing it, uploading it, getting it to format properly, that takes a while. A 15-minute video can easily take you an hour to get all that done. It's not, it's not 15 minutes. It's longer than that. But Yvonne says, what was the gist of his position? The gist of his position basically was that reselling really wasn't a real business because he kept going to all kinds of weird, crazy ideas, but saying, well, you're not putting enough money into it, and it doesn't take much knowledge, and it's not hard to start, and you don't have all this overhead. And I just thought, man, those are just outdated ideas. There's so many businesses out there that started with nothing. I even gave an example of how Apple started when Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs sold their vehicles for a total of about $1,250 to start Apple, to create a multi-billion-dollar corporation eventually. They didn't know it was going to be that. Bill Gates started Microsoft in his garage. There's just so many examples of people who started with just minimal support and grew it into multi-billion-dollar, hugely successful businesses. Yeah, Mr. Say says Walmart's a reseller when you think about it. Yeah, I even told him that. I said Walmart and Target are resellers. They don't manufacture and produce their own products. Even the products they have that have their labels on them are made for them by someone else. They're not making them. They didn't build those factories and create. They're basically other generic products. They're just sticking the Target or Walmart label on. So yeah, Walmart and Target are resellers. Absolutely are. They just do it on a much larger scale than you or I do. So I don't know. It's just a little frustrating. There's just all these weird ideas out there, and I guess I shouldn't really let it get to me, but it frustrates me when people are unwilling to evolve and change and realize that the world is different. The internet and the ability for you to start businesses and create a presence on the online world has changed everything. It has leveled the playing field like no other invention in the history of the world, in my opinion. It has made it so that the very littlest guy or girl can be huge if they want to be. And they don't have to put in this enormous amounts of capital to start. But I mean, it's always kind of been that way, but the internet has just magnified it. And yeah, there's a lot of crap out there too that isn't very useful, but I just think it's an antiquated view, and I just hope that you guys don't view yourselves as being, and I don't know all your levels and what your goals are with your business and so on, but I hope you don't view yourselves as less than someone who has, say, a brick and mortar business. You're not. You're producing services for people or buying products and getting products to them for people. That's valuable. That's what the Targets and the Walmarts of the world do. There's value in that. You're almost like a personal shopper for people you'll never meet. And I've considered myself that before. You buy items, you list them, you photograph them, you ship them off to people, you provide customer service, you take payments, you pay taxes, you have overhead, you have expenses. You do everything that any other business does. I don't know why anyone would look at that as anything less than a real business. I don't understand what the definition of real is, if that's what this person thought, but they clearly thought that it has to be this certain way, and you've got to go spend $500,000 before you are a real business, and you got to have a lot of overhead, and Amazon started by selling books from one person to the next. It started as a bookstore. Now they're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I just found it a strange view, and I guess I shouldn't let it get to me, right? It doesn't really get to me. It just frustrated me at the time. But anyway, Ashley says, would you ever open a brick and mortar? Maybe. Sure. I don't know what I'd sell or what I would do with it, but sure. I mean, there's a couple booksellers Rakin had on his channel several months ago, and they have a huge Amazon business. They sell 600 to 700 books a day, if you can imagine, on Amazon. I mean, that's a lot of books. And they bring them in by huge amounts. And they have a warehouse and a factory that basically process the books. They recycle books that they're not going to sell. But you know what they also do? They also have a part of their warehouse that's a bookstore. And people come in, including kids, and buy books every week or 2 weeks. I don't remember the schedule, but they're effectively operating a brick and mortar as well as this huge FBA business. And they're $1 million booksellers. I mean, they're doing, I think he said they had 185,000 listings on Amazon. I mean, that's a lot of listings, but and they were primarily books. So, even the definition of what a brick and mortar is anymore has changed, so. Yvonne says, I sold 3 things for him and got on my jammies. Yeah, isn't it nice, Yvonne, when you wake up with just sales and you wake up with money in your PayPal account, or, it's sitting there waiting to be dispersed from you from Amazon? It's like, man, I mean, you can't do that with a brick and mortar. If you're not open with a brick and mortar, you don't make money, and plus and if you're not open, you're leasing a space more than likely, and it's costing you money, so yeah, I mean, there's huge advantages to this. So, yeah, this is a new age of low overhead. Even the brick and mortar stores have to order your stuff many times. They're just not stocking much. Yeah, I mean, I could see a day come, Mr. Sadie, when a lot of brick and mortar stores go by the wayside because it's really expensive to operate all that real estate, and just, man, it's expensive, and to pay so many employees. I mean, and that'll change things if that happens. And retail is actually the biggest employment sector in the United States. So, as retail goes, a lot of people are affected. It's not all, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of part-time jobs. There's a lot of full-time jobs there too. So, hello, how are you? I was wondering if you're going to get on. But yeah, so retail may be going the way of the dinosaur one of these days, at least traditional retail. And if it does, it will. We'll evolve and change. I mean, that's just the way the world works. Nothing stays the same forever. I'll let Karin answer that, Yvonne. Brent says, I've had people that work at Walmart judging me for what I do. They don't realize I can profit more in one day than make in a week. I don't let it bother me anymore. Yeah, I used to be a lot more secretive about the sourcing and so on, Brent, but I mean, I don't blast it out when I'm in a store if I'm sourcing, but I don't really think about it much anymore. It's what I'm there to do. And if it causes an issue, it causes an issue. I don't know if she heard you. I don't know if she, let's see if she was able to see your question or not. I'm not sure if she was. She's not at the computer. Let me text her real quick and tell her. Yeah, I know they talk and look. I know, right? They talk and look like you're some sort of weird creature. But anyway. All right, guys. Well, look, I think that's going to do it for tonight. I got some work to do, and hopefully you do too. And I hope you guys have a great weekend of sales. Go out there and kill it if you're out there yard sailing or state sailing. I will be giving you some updates. I'll try to get you an update later tomorrow night. But for now, I'm going to sign off. And please hit the like button before you leave, guys. I do appreciate it. Leave me a comment. And keep those suggestions coming in about what else I should do a show on. All right? All right, everyone. Well, again, I appreciate it. And hope you have a great weekend. And as always, this is Prof Sales saying good sales to you.